Here, alive and well.
Hello.
Welcome to the live stream. And this time it's not your usual live stream that we have on every Friday. This time we have our 10-year anniversary Wooting live stream. And of course, a Wooting live stream with 10 years anniversary would not be a 10-year anniversary live stream
like that, yeah.
without it being something very, very special. So today it's going to be a special live stream in which we're going to do something very, very interesting. And I think some guys in the marketing department have introduced and leaked a few things here and there on what we're going to be doing today and what we're going to introduce today. But first, we need to take a moment and appreciate where we are right now and look back at where we started before we get into that news. And I don't know, I'll just do a short introduction of the team that we have available right now. So I have next to me, as you might know, Kevin.
Hey. Hi.
The industrial designer.
The head of the industrial designer. But
That's right.
Yeah.
Head of industrial design. And he's been with us for a very, very long time. You'll know very
Reaching to 6 years with this June. Yeah.
Then I should introduce another key player that is going to come up, and he's here also, that has been doing 6 years, is Simon, that is in the background, that you cannot see.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hopefully you heard that.
Yeah.
All right, but then for this live stream, we have our producer on my left here, which is our silly guy Sonder.
Hey.
And then we also have our, I don't know what we have a name for it today, but we have our producer assistant helping also with some things, which is in the background, Kong.
Yeah, Kong.
Yeah, and he's going to say, hi.
Thank you, Kong.
Yes, thank you, Kong. All right, and then we also have some more people of the team in the background that flew all the way to Taiwan. Some of them are already in Taiwan because next week we have Computex. And just to let you know where they are, maybe you guys can make some noise. Did it sound like 20 or 5 people? All right. So, so I'm going to start from the beginning for a moment, because you might be thinking, what? 10 years? You guys have been around for 10 years? I only know you for like a few years. And that's because you probably know us from the Wooting 68G. But that's actually after 7 years of doing a lot of stuff to get to the point that we can even do the Wooting 68G.
Exactly, yep.
It actually started in 2015 with me and the 2 other founders, Jeroen and Erik, that cannot pop in the screen.
Not in here, yeah.
And at that time, we simply just wanted to make an analog keyboard. At the time, we had found an optical switch, and that optical switch, from our viewpoint, was able to get analog input. And we said, hey, why is nobody making this kind of keyboard? We think we can do something with this. Let's give it a shot. And we had absolutely no idea how to make a keyboard. We had no background experience. We had nothing to even understand how complicated it could be. And we just thought, let's just give it a shot. So we started prototyping, and then we got to a point that we actually got a functioning prototype that worked with a very, very little, I think it was like 1.5 millimeter range or something. It was really, really short range of analog, but it worked. So we decided, okay, let's try and get this into a mass production product. But we had no money. So we went at what that time was the most obvious thing to raise funds, which was go to our father and mother. No. Well, to be true, the truth is, yes, we did go to family and we asked, hey, we need to raise money because we want to start this company and make this keyboard. But it was by far not enough, let alone they were not willing to spend that much or loan that much to these dudes cannot prove anything to make this keyboard. So what we did is we went to Kickstarter. And in that first year of Kickstarter, let's say the path towards that Kickstarter was also a lot about finding out how to do a Kickstarter, how to raise the funds. And we were very, very fortunate that we had a few moments in the path towards launching that Kickstarter, and how we collected emails that SlashGear at the time picked up on us on my really, really silly video I made about analog keyboards that you can still see on our channel, I think. It's one of the first ones. And they were sharing about this idea of an analog keyboard. And we got a lot of email subscriptions from that little piece of news from /gear. So I want to say with that a little bit, thank you /gear. Because that means very little things can make the difference. You just sometimes don't know what can happen. And when we got to the Kickstarter moment and we launched our first keyboard, the Wooting one, in 2016, we were very fortunate that we were able to raise $150,000, about, I think 140,000, something in that direction, from people, from about 800 people, I think it was, that believed in what we were trying to do and were very excited to see us make it. And that's exactly what we then proceeded to do with, again, very little knowledge about how to get this in mass production. But like we've always done over every year is we just take on the challenge and we just proceed to take it step by step and figure out how are we going to do this. And thankfully, even though it was very, very painful and we wanted to do it faster, but now with more experience looking back, in 2017, we were able to make our first delivery, or make the deliveries of the Wooting 1. And after we made that delivery, that's where it really, really started, how to run a keyboard business. And over those years, we learned, every year we learned something new, and every year we found out, oh shit, we need to do a Kickstarter again, because that's the best way to get people to us. So we did that with the Wooting 2, and that was a demand coming from customers. And we delivered that Wooting 2 then in 2019. And then we're trying to figure out how can we keep people to stick with Wooting and just find our keyword on a regular way and not through some kind of campaign. And that's when we also decided we should move away from Kickstarter, otherwise we're going to become a Kickstarter company and we're going to be very, very dependent on their model. And what we then did is launch our own product on our own website with our own group of people that we had amassed. And that was also the time
me and Simon joined.
Yes.
Yeah. I think during the development of the Wooting 2 Lekker editions.
And
but I don't know, when did you already have the Lekker edition? Because when I'm in, which is kind of like 2019, July or June, I already see kind of like, it's past DVT probably, but never reaching to PVT.
I think at that time, at Computex, this is where we actually made the decision to get you on board.
Yes, because I met you on that Computex in 2019. Yeah.
And that was the same year at Computex that we showed a prototype of the Wooting 2 Lekker edition.
Right.
Yeah. In that year, Kevin joined, and he joined at the right moment.
At the last moment of the development, I have to say.
Because as some of you, maybe, I don't know if there's anybody in the chat that is from that era.
Or any founders from the...
any founders.
Yeah, Lekker edition.
If you're there, you know that we originally made these Hall effect switches or the magnet switches with Huano.
Yes.
And also I have to make very clear here, the Lekker edition was our first Hall effect version keyboard, while the previous ones were optical ones. Yeah. But then we found out that the switch that Huano was making was just not meeting our standard, not meeting what we wanted it to do. And then we made this really big pivot towards Gatron, and to work with Gatron with their magnet switch.
Yeah.
But it required a significant change to the keyboard.
Yes. Which is we swap all the Hall sensors from the top of the PCBA to the bottom of the PCBA, which is the biggest pivot point at a time, because we are already in the middle of the development on the Wooting 2 Lekker editions. So the decision is kind of like there's a lot of time being put into, and then we decide this is the right directions, this is the right choice, then we make the pivots.
And we had to change our molds completely. Kevin had to redraw the whole bottom case of the Wooting 2 at that time.
And also we are also re-investigating the top plate. We also got the top plate issues a bit, yeah. So there's a lot of like finding out the truth, finding out what's the issues that causing the first generation or like the previous prototype that didn't work. And then we also remade the PCBA, right? I mean
The PCBA was also remade.
Kind of, yeah.
Because I had to reallocate everything.
Reallocate everything and reroute probably 80% of it, and we start from there. And kind of working with Gatron, right, to work with the layer, kind of like the magnet switch.
And thankfully, in around that same time, Jeroen was not alone anymore doing the software pieces.
Yeah.
And we had a very talented guy, Simon, on board to help out. And if it wasn't also for Simon during that time, then you would have also not had experience. I think, what is that, utility V3? Was that like, or was the V2 really like the V3, right? Yeah. Yeah, and I think V3 really made a big jump, a really big jump forward. But more importantly, actually, on our Wooting keyboards, what made an even bigger jump forward is what we were doing on the firmware. Because there are so many optimizations that we were doing on the firmware at that time that really directed all the developments into giving us a lot more freedom in how do we make our keyboards, what kind of features can we provide everyone. And that was also this time that we started getting the idea of rapid trigger. So I think it is in 2020 is when we made the first video to introduce to our Lekker Edition founders this new feature, rapid trigger, which was in my house in a small room and a very bad lighting, and that was on a Lekker Edition. And at that time, we didn't know yet how much impact rapid trigger could have, but we did know that we were onto something that made had a big change in how you operate your keyboard. So in that meanwhile, we're making this development. We delivered the Lekker Edition with rapid trigger on it. We also released the Wooting 2 HE around the same time, so we have a continuous sale of a full-size keyboard. We have the whole effect switches in there, which was the Wooting 2 HE. And in the meanwhile, because thankfully we had Kevin on board, we can now start thinking more critically, how can we make a new keyboard but take it a step further? And that was
60 HE. But no. But before 60 HE, my first project is actually, I think it's 65 or something.
Okay.
But
okay.
But
okay. Truth.
Truth. Yeah, truth. It's true.
The truth.
Truth.
Okay.
It's the truth. Yeah.
It was even more crazy.
Yep.
We actually thought that time, let's make a 65% keyboard, not a 60%, 65%. And together, Kevin, we were figuring out how we're going to do this enclosure, right?
How to design the enclosure, how to design the mounting systems.
And we had a very crazy mounting system idea at that time.
Yeah.
But it was a mounting system that kind of like exceeded our capabilities.
Like money-wise, it's
that was the second factor. We also found out, oh my gosh, we need like a top case piece, we need a bottom case piece, we need to now open two molds.
And also the crazy ideas as another mold, so it's at least 3 molds that at a time, which we are not really capable of opening. The cash flow was looking at me and said, Calder, there's absolutely no way.
So we had to pivot again because it was like, okay, we've been working on this for a while and we really love it, but you have to kill it.
At the time, Calder's quote unquote is put it in the fridge. So
yeah. And when we did that and we were moving forward, we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Because we do want to make this new keyboard that can communicate very clearly this rapid trigger function to this core audience. And we need a new keyboard overall. That's the time we're thinking, you know what? We should make a 60% version PCBA only at the time of this technology, of our whole effect switch keyboards, of the Wooting 2 HE whole effect keyboard with rapid trigger in there. And then in the worst case scenario, if we don't have cash flow to open up a mold, then we can always go to any kind of other vendor, either buy their mold or let them produce a bottom case for us, so we can just put the PCBA in there and at least bring our technology, bring our ideas to you, to the end users. Thankfully though, we didn't need to go that far, And when we created the whole case and everything. Oh, I remember. We had COVID period.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thankfully, Fortnite went bananas on our Wooting 1 keyboard with double movement. And that brought in the extra cash for us that allowed us now to invest into a mold.
Yes.
So
thanks for the double movements. Yeah, and thanks for the Fortnite.
Thank you, Fortnite.
Yeah. Finally have the kind of like capital that can open a mold. But we are very, very conservative. We just decide to open one mold, so it's a single case. And I think that's the very smart reason we go with the universal 60%, because we know there's more compatible reasons for us to approaching in these directions.
And then you might be asking, so at what time did you decide to add that strap? Well, Kevin.
This is just like I think it's also like the last very moment of the design iterations. I have these crazy ideas. Hey, how about just adding a strap on the left side of the keyboard? And with the rendering, everyone's just like, oh, this is definitely going to work. And we just start to building from there.
And I think the biggest thing was also when you look at 60% keyboards, they're usually just rectangular.
Yeah.
And the strap really made it pop. And it fitted well for this target group that we're thinking, we want to really emphasize our performance features of the keyboard. Oh my gosh. Well, because before we didn't really do that performance-based one. Okay, so in 2021 we launched the 60HE. Thankfully, that was a success. I think we raised the most that we had ever raised before, and we did it on our own website. I think it was like 200 some plus a bit something dollars, which is great because now we could invest in a mold and we could look a little more into the future. What can we do with this? And in 2022, we made the first deliveries of the 60HE. And then it started to gain traction. We finally were able to reach the right people with our features on the keyboard. That, again, a feature we've introduced in 2019 and been delivering already since 2020. But now we're reaching the right people with our keyboard, and they are finding out rapid trigger is insane. And I would say from that point, it's been going very, very, very fast. We've been getting more acknowledgement, people are starting to recognize us a lot more, and we've been going really ham on selling 60HEs over the world. And thankfully at the time we did plan to scale up our not only production but also distribution and shipping, so we were able to grow with the demand as much as we could. And we were only with 5 people on the launch, 7 people on the delivery. And then the follow-up year, we were with 14 people, which is 2023 start. The year after 2024 start, we were with 30 people, 30. Then at the start of 2025, hold on, before I go to 25. In 2024, we delivered our controversial 80HE.
Very controversial.
And there's a lot to tell there. But because of time, I'm going to move on to the next piece, which is in 2025. This year we have now 70 people ish. The start was a little bit less, maybe. We had 70 people, and now with 70 people in a very short amount of time, it's crazy how much more we've grown. And along the journey, we've been sharing a lot as we could of our journey. And now we're at a point that we need to think more clearly about, with so many people within the team, and with Wooting becoming now a new player on the market with a different position. What does it mean for the next 10 years? And I think in the core, nothing really changes. We said that a few years back when we were growing fast. We said we want to retain our company culture. We want to retain what we love. We want to retain what we do, and we're going to cherish that more than trying to gain a lot of market share and grow revenue as fast as we can. Because as long as we love what we're doing, that we also know, and as long as we love, I mean, and everybody also joining, Wooting loves what they're doing, that we also know for sure that you're gonna love it. Yeah. And that has been one of our primary focuses also as we are growing. Yeah. So what can we expect from Wooting in the next 10 years? The usual answer is products, right? In a product term, I'm going to give you a not so usual answer here, which is just going to be basically, we're going to do our thing, we're going to enjoy the hell out of it, and we're going to keep our focus on what's important. And that's to make great stuff for you, trying to solve genuine problems and challenge that industry so we can start kickstarting some new thinking. And I think today we're going to introduce also something that is maybe not a very, very new idea.
But it's a continuously innovation to the product.
And a little step closer to that piece of let's try something new. We know it already exists. You can try it out and it's going to make you better at the game.
Yes.
All right. So I'm now looking at Mr. Producer.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, are we doing the trailer? What? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is it? So okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I'm highlighting it already.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
3 years ago, we delivered the first Wooting 6HE. And oh my, what an impact did it have on the industry. Terms like HE, rapid trigger, analog keyboard are everywhere right now. In fact, it's really hard to imagine any pro gamer not using an HE keyboard. When we made the Wooting 6HE, that was 7 years going into that one little keyboard with 5 people. But more importantly, it was you that supported us from the start all the way to the 6HE and after the 6HE throughout the whole journey. And for that, a big thank you for you. Without you, it would have not been possible for us to do the things that we love to do and to produce these keyboards. So, pro gamer, let me tell you a little secret. The only way you can reach the top is through hard work and dedication. Sadly, we can't help you with that. But we can make your journey a lot easier. We took something great and made it even better. This is the Wooting 6HE V2. It looks like they this time went for an aluminum case, which would be very appropriate. Looking at what they had with the Whitesync V2, I hope this will last against our little scratching test. Let's make sure we have enough numbers here. Why don't we just start with a higher number before going to a lower number? Oh gosh. Well, this doesn't look too bad. I was expecting something worse. What if we go to level 2? It would seem to hold out just well. Well, I think the guys did a really great job with the scratching test. I think it's time to take a look what makes this V2 so special. I saw they had this little special tool. They told me I can take out the module really fast. Is this true? Oh wow. This was a lot smoother than I thought. This makes it very easy to take it out and modify the case. Thanks, Jerry. But what else is new? We've overhauled the PCBA for true AK polling, so now you have better performance and stability. Speaking of stability, the V2 now always comes with screw-in stabilizers for a more consistent sound. And, they are pre-lubed. And now with even more lube than before, so you don't need to touch it. But what's wrong? Oh, I think the battery's out. Let's just move the scene then. Is this working? Sounds much better, right? Just like the 6HE V2, because we added a silicone dampener into the bottom case. And that will really help consolidate all those noises from the keyboard and make it a little bit more silent. But maybe you don't like that and you want something a bit more bassy. Then you just take out the silicone dampener and you have a really wide spectrum of sound. That also not to your liking, you can put in the foam piece that comes with the keyboard and have another sound experience. But let me show you something else on that matter. Join me. We've added a whole new acoustic experience to the V2. We changed the switch plate into an FR4 one. We now have a sandwich pad made of silicone and poron, and we put a PET film on top of the PCB. Now, if that didn't mean anything to you, it just means it has a bit more of a focky, marbly sound. These are the new Lekker switches. They create that marbly sound thanks to the closed bottom here. However, they still have 4mm pressing range, which is a first in the industry. It wouldn't be a 6HE without the iconic strap now, would it be? But now we gave it a couple of upgrades. You can also have a clean symmetrical build. Now, if you're a really big fan of the straps, however, then come take a look. You can now even have 2 straps. And if 2 straps not enough for you, you can go for 2 space bars as well. Kevin. Hey, Kevin, this is mine, remember?
No, this is mine. The space bar is mine.
Kevin, why are you pulling so hard? Kevin, what are you doing? No! Kevin, what's going on? Why am I taped to the chair? Okay, what's going on?
Enough talking, Color. So annoying.
At the final touch, we actually add the tape mod for the extra poppy sound.
And boom. Oh shit, that's a big call. Then hold it. Yay!
Yay!
Okay, you guys can do a bit closer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because we
Cool.
also have the chat. Wait, what the hell? Oh, wait, the camera.
So-
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay!
So, 6HE V. Oh, 6HE V2. Producer, help us.
Producer, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow, we're so far. Whoa,
yeah,
okay.
okay.
Nice and cozy.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6HE V2. Now, you must have a lot of questions, and we're going to have a whole Q&A session later. First, we're going to take a moment to introduce you ourselves also to 6HE V2. So that will already answer a lot of questions, hopefully. And then we're going to eat some cake, right?
Yes,
Yeah. And then we're going to do some Q&A, and you can ask any question you want. If you have a certain question in the meanwhile, I don't know if our producer assistant, somebody is going to make some notes or something, but maybe key ones might be highlighted. Or Okay. My gosh, where do we start? Let's start with the obvious pieces, Kevin. Okay.
So, what is the obvious pieces?
What is the most obvious piece? So, let's see. Let's start just with performance-wise before we go into the keyboard itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'll give you some keyboard pieces, and then yes.
Okay.
The most obvious one is that you've noticed from a performance perspective, it now also has true AK polling. Now, if you know it from the 8HE, true AK polling basically means that not only are we scanning over USB at 8,000, I'm going to say this right, 8,000 hertz or 8 kilohertz.
Kilohertz, yes.
Simon's giving me the approval. Okay. Okay. On the PCB scanning, we're doing that at the same or even faster, so that we can make sure that every time that the computer checks your keyboard, hey, do you have a new update for me? Do you have new inputs for me? It has a new report ready. So you will never miss a beat of that AK polling happening. That is the true AK polling. So it's not just AK spec on USB polling. No, it's like all the way from keyboard all the way down to the USB through USB-C. Obviously, we've also added a few minor improvements to our PCB overall, and its performance is now a bit better in terms of precision and accuracy. And actually, we've been using this keyboard also to learn a lot of new things about our sensors and our switches that are going to help that's going to help everybody else with a 6HE plus, 6HE, and a Wooting 2HE in terms of performance, because everything we learn now, we're going to backwards implement into your keyboard as well. So don't feel like you're gonna miss out if you still have a 680 Plus, right? Now I have to say if you still have a 680 Plus. Yeah. I think that covers, for most part, PCBA part.
PCBA part, yes.
So maybe we should go into now the next most obvious thing. If we're gonna keep talking about feature piece, maybe layout.
So I think for the V2, we actually spent a lot of time working, talking, basically debating on what's the new layout we should provide with this upgrade. And this split spacebar layout is something Colin and I really want to share, because I think we have this in mind for actually a while, but we do break into every scenario, like user scenario, to see what kind of keyboard, what kind of layout is more suitable for this. And we also even go more deeply on define what's the unit on to replace the normal spacebar, which is the 6.25 units. And this is what we kind of end on and can kind of conclude. So you are looking at replaced by 2.75 units and 1.25, and then another 2.25, which consists by your left and right shift and plus another 1.25 modifier keys. And the reason going this is also we want to consider different user and different kind of keycap compatibility. So we pick the most one that is more easy for you to pick if you just go with the module kind of setup. But we also make our own iteration on the spacebar key, so slightly different on the shape. So it's the same curve as the normal spacebar. Yeah.
And I think, like always, when we do any kind of layout, we are very concerned about keycap compatibility.
Yes.
Right? And this is what Kevin means with those spacebar sizes corresponding with your right and left shift keys. So if you do have other key sets, in theory, you can just put your right and left shift on those spacebars.
Yes.
And then you might be asking, well, guys, so what? Why would you even need a split spacebar? Well, let me tell you a secret. Your thumb is super numb in what it's doing. It's only pressing this one super large key. And you might not know it, but it is true that you basically use both thumbs when you're typing, and sometimes maybe even your index finger when you're typing. So there is a point for that spacebar to be that big. But if you're playing games, you can use your thumb for a lot more. And not having a second key with your thumb is a waste. That's why we really wanted to give split spacebar an honest shot in the market.
Yes.
And we wanted to do that with the 680. We thought was, like as Kevin said, the most suitable layout. But we also wanted to make sure that the transition to a split spacebar is very easy.
Yes.
So you might be shocked, oh my gosh, I've never used a split spacebar. I'm not going to get used to it. But we thought about that, and that's another reason why I went with this split style, right?
Yes.
And that is this piece of where do you place your thumb when you're gaming, where do you place your thumb when you're typing usually. The adjustment period to the split spacebar is very short, and you're going to get a lot of benefit in a lot of games with the split spacebar. Guaranteed. Okay, I should have maybe not said it, but guaranteed if you utilize it. All right, now I think we can get into our aesthetical choices.
Yes.
Maybe let's start with the strap, the most obvious
Yes.
one, or the case.
I mean,
And then
it's
strap.
probably comes up.
Yeah, the case is more obvious. Let's do the case and the
Okay.
friction fitting. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I should do like this. So, completely new. This is made by aluminum. The whole case is die casting aluminum. So it's very hard. It has a very good heavy kind of weight, but it's not so heavy as different material.
It's about 1 kilogram.
Yes, almost one kilogram. Yeah, the whole assembled keyboard. And we actually, should I just open?
With the, yeah. Oh, actually, we can show this also in a moment.
Yes.
Let's use this one. Yeah. Can we bring this into the open?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we opted, okay, so one of the biggest disadvantages with a 60% layout and the 60% standard is that it has a tray mount, which requires you to screw in the whole module into the case.
Yes.
Because it's screwed into the case, what also happens when you're typing, all that noise that's being generated, or all those vibrations that are being generated from you hitting the key to the bottom, gets transferred through the module and then through the standoffs in which it's screwed in into the case. And especially if you have a metal case, it starts resonating with the metal. And that's why you're gonna get like a bit more pinging maybe, or a little more shill noises, which is really, really not pleasant. So you might already know we've introduced a friction fit pad for the 6-stage E.
Yeah.
And that was kind of our stepping point from let's get this into our standard model, the V2. What is friction fitting? It's basically a screwless mounting design. You can just simply take out the whole module with our little keyboard tool. Yeah. And you can also, and we'll show you a close-up in a moment of this.
Yeah.
We'll get into this, all the materials for sounds in a moment.
Yeah.
And at the same time, as easy it is to get it out, you can also place it back in again.
You
It will have,
press.
yes, it will have friction, so it won't drop out immediately because it's friction fitted in there. Now we're going to show you a little close-up, if it's ready. Let's do the close-up?
Let's do the close-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want the puller?
Yeah, it's adjusting. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do it. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've never done it.
Okay, so Sondler is a noob. Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have
Remove the.
beautiful keyboard over here. I'll just adjust the. There we go. Okay, I'm dropping everything. Oh man. Okay. I mean, you don't hear me really in the microphone, so. Oh, wait, I only have to do the Alt.
The Alt key.
The Alt key.
Okay, and then we have this boy up. Put it in. Oh, shit, dude. Yeah, voiceover is for you guys.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yes, no. Okay. Well, we can get into the sound part.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense right now, since we're doing the friction fitting anyway. Yeah. Okay, so what you just saw on the bottom of the module, unlike the 8HE, the 8HE has a PET.
PET tape mod. But for the 6HE V2, we decided to go with the painter's tape as a tape mod.
So this means you don't need to do the tape mod anymore,
Yeah.
like literally putting painter's tape on the bottom. We've now put it on there for you. And we've chosen a certain thickness that we feel is good.
Yes.
Right. And then you might have also noticed,
There's 7 standoff. No, silicon plug.
oh right, okay, you might have also noticed on the bottom of that PCBA, there are these like little gray knobs there. We're calling them silicone plugs. And these are basically to make sure that the whole module gets positioned correctly inside the case. So if you look into the case, you can see it's completely clean. It does not allow any tray mounting. And there are these standoffs in there in which the silicone plugs rest. And this is not necessarily something that is vital, or otherwise it doesn't work, but it is definitely something that makes sure that you have a very reliable keyboard. Then in addition, we made, on the sound department, if we look at the bottom case, we made sure, well, maybe we should not do the bottom case the last one though. Yeah, okay, anyway. Okay, no, yeah. So when we look at the bottom case, yeah, we have empty. You can also put a piece of silicone, it will by default come with the silicone in there.
Which the silicon sound is showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the box, you're also going to get a foam piece. And then you'll have 3 different configurations for the keyboard. And we did this because sound is subjective. That's one of our biggest lessons over these years. So we wanted to make sure, since we have the friction fitting with the 60H V2, and it's so easy to get it out, and you can quickly swap the material in the bottom case, the silicone, the foam, or nothing, and each one of them has its own sound signature. And it's really, really easy to do. You don't need to take anything apart, and anybody can really just do this quickly and smoothly, as Sander is doing it right now.
Nimbo, Wombo, Bosch.
Done. See?
Efficiency.
And you can immediately do some typing testing, pull it out again, and then swap it around again, and keep going. Okay. So this is by far going to make the biggest sound difference in a very, very short amount of time. And then on the sound department, of course, inside the module, we've also done a bunch of things to further help sound. What I think the most important thing is, you might think, hey, because it has that friction fitting, doesn't that mean the silicone is all over the keyboard?
The answer is no.
Right.
We actually add, in the alphabet area, which we call alpha keys area, we actually cut out all the material of the silicone friction fit pad, and we replace with a poron material, and also it's a bit hardener poron in the alphabet area to create, to make the sound more appropriate, or like it sounds better. Yeah. So
in this way, all right, and then maybe the last piece inside there is that we also added a PET film on top of the PCBA.
Yes.
And this is something that helps further, how would I say that?
We kind of like trap the sound inside the module, in between the switch plate and the PCBA. So we have, if you look at the exploding view, you got the switch plate, and you also got the alphabet area poron foam, and outside is the silicone friction fit pad, and then there's a layer of PET film, and then you have the PCBA.
And then the tape mod.
Oh yeah, and the tape mod under the PCBA,
Yeah.
yes.
And we've been choosing these different, we've been trying a lot of different styles, a lot of different combinations. Even so, we started off using a PC switch plate, but later in the development, we decided to swap it to an FR4 switch plate.
Yes.
Because we felt, especially with the different bottom, with the silicone bottom or the foam bottom or the hollow, it had the most significant impact and would really help differentiate those three different sound profiles. So all of this together with the friction fitting, isolating it away from the case, no pinging, we have created a really, really great sounding keyboard.
Yes.
But sound starts with switches.
Yep.
And that's also something that we hear you. We know that we want to see better switches. And actually we've been, without you knowing, doing a lot of silent upgrades with the Lekker switches, going from decreasing the tolerances, so therefore decreasing wobble over iterations. And we've gotten to a point where it's actually pretty good. We've also been changing the hook design on that Lekker switch without really making a big thing out of it, so it was going to be easier to get it out of the 8HE, for example. And in the meanwhile, we're looking at, okay, what is a significant contribution that we can make when it comes to switch area, and what are the things we like and what are the things we don't like about the switch already on the market.
Yeah.
And the first thing is, okay, well, first of all, we have then Lekker ticket switches. The first thing starts with this Lekker ticket switch has, this is the most obvious one, a closed bottom.
Closed bottom. Yeah.
Now, obviously, we all, for the people that do a lot of HE keyboards, they are familiar with switches that have closed bottoms. The problem, however, is always you need to make a compromise, and that is that a closed bottom switch is the travel distance is 3.5 millimeter instead of the regular 4 millimeters. Now, some of you might have not noticed this, some of you might have noticed and wondered why, but if you have a closed bottom switch in your keyboard and you start pressing your stabilizer keys, and especially on your long space bar, and you can see your space bar or your long stabilizer keys.
Yeah. Have a seesaw effect or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it has that seesaw effect, I can tell you now that is because the stabilizers in your keyboard were made for 4mm switches, not 3.5mm, and therefore it will start to seesaw. This is why we made the Lekker ticket switches with 4mm range instead. Besides, we didn't really see reason that it had to be shorter. And that is a significant difference between our bottom case, Lekker ticket switches, still having 4mm switches,
Yes.
4mm range instead of the 3.5. The second piece is by doing the closed bottom, we were also able to get a tighter tolerance
Yeah.
on the switch overall, so that we can get the wobble at the end of the press even less than before. And then I guess I think the last piece about the Lekker about the Lekker ticket switch is that the LED bar is now a separate one. So it's not embedded with the top case, it's its own LED bar. And this will be good for us, not for you necessarily now, because now we can do a bunch of different colors and setups that we like to do without sacrificing LED on the switch
Yeah.
and changing your RGB colors. All right. Let's now go over to the case then.
Yes. So we basically took everything with what we added during the development, and now, as you see in the trailers, we actually got to, because you raised your questions and we listened, so we actually we make these removable strap holders, and we decide, hey, maybe some people want the strap on the right hand, or maybe they also want it on the both hands. So we are making these kind of like a more universal strap holder. So we have one on the left side, and we also have got you covered on the right side. So you can just switch from different side. And we also have, if you have a default, this is a default one. You got this holder on your left side, and the right side is actually a flat. We call this a decoration plate, and we will got you covered with another decoration plate put in the box as an accessory, so you can also swap it with completely no strap, with no strap holders as a bonus. And then after this, during the development, we are also figuring out, oh, there's Rohan, our industrial designer, come up with this more like a rounded tube idea, and this is kind of like stainless steel, and we saw this is super nice, so we decided we just add this into the accessory pack. So this is kind of like a slightly nice touch back into the keyboard, and this is our making slightly different color compared to the black, so you have this slightly brightness and kind of like the touch of our design team. Yeah. And you can also put it here on the left side, or you can also put it on the right side. Yes.
And it's very easy to do, because you can just take out the module, and then you can just unscrew from the inside.
Inside of the case, there's 2 screws on your left, and also 2 screws on the right. Don't know if the camera can take it, but yes.
Okay. And this is, let's see. Right, okay. I need to look at the notes.
So much to say about it.
Yeah. I think we have one last piece that we can say about the module. It does have now screw-in stabilizers, and as you could see in the video, the screw-in stabilizers, we've heard a lot of voices about, especially in the ATHE with the screw-in stabilizers, and we've been taking a close look. What is it that we can do with the stabilizers? And we've revisited our way of lubricating basically the stabilizers. So now we have a new updated lubrication method, which we're now applying to all our keyboards.
Yes.
And for the 6-stage V2, we decided also, let's, as a standard, include it with screw-in stabilizers. So we're very confident that you're going to have a great sound experience also with the stabilizers. And we added a little trick, but that's also to all the keyboards, but I'll just leave that for something else.
Yeah.
Then maybe some little FAQ pieces is first question being maybe, can I put my 6HE Plus in here? The answer is yes, you can. If you get the friction pad, you can mod your 6HE Plus with the friction fit, and you can also put it into this case. It is just all the standard 60% inner size, so it will fit in. And you might be asking, but hold on, what about my tofu case? What about my
Alumaze.
Alumaze?
Alumaze.
Oh my gosh, why didn't I do mine first? Well, the thing is, all of those inner dimensions are pretty much the same. It will also fit with the friction fit. And you still have all the hole openings on the 6HE V2 to do a regular tray mount. So
yeah.
It's not gone, it's still there. You can still always do a tray mount.
The OLED also will work.
The OLAB will also work, but with the OLAB, I think the OLAB, I forgot if you need to use their silicone piece.
Yeah, you need to.
I think so.
We
yes.
need to use their silicone piece.
Yes,
I
you cannot
believe.
put it
Yeah.
straight in. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
But it will be compatible as well. All right.
Optimum case.
Oh my God. Optimum case, also compatible. All right, and so I hope that you can see that for the 6HE V2, we listened to the feedback that was coming in. We listened at what you feel like we could do better, and we've implemented that all in the 6HE V2. And this is, for us, a step up from the 6HE Plus, and something that we've been wanting to do for a little while already.
Yeah.
And we hope that you are also, we really enjoy already 6HE V2. And it's quite incredible comparing it to the original 6HE Plus, because we really feel that 60HE, not the Plus one, right, that you can get right now, like that we originally made, compared to what we made here, is such a huge step forward that at that time we could have never imagined was still possible.
Yeah.
The last question that is going to come up is, when can we buy this, right? And when can I have this on my desk? So we have stated that we can that we're going to do deliveries in Q4 this year. And if you want to know the state of development, if you're familiar with the terms again, the EVT, DVT, PVT, MP, right? Right now we're in our DVT phase. We're doing a lot of the reliability testing right now to make sure that everything works as it should.
Yes.
If that is all okay, we're going to go over to PVT, which is a trial production run, and then it's ready for MP. But be aware, we also need time to build up the stock, to build up towards the demand.
Yes.
So we're going to do our best on this part, but the first deliveries can happen then in the fourth quarter, so end of this year. And then when can you start buying it? Well, unlike our previous keyboards, this one we wanted to wait as long as we could before making it available for sale, and not to do it with a founders campaign, because this is a next model. So what we're going to do is, before we start the first deliveries, we're going to make it available for sale. I don't know if we've agreed on the date. I don't think we've agreed on the date, right? No, we didn't want to agree on the date yet at this time, because as you know, with product development, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But as you know, with product development, you never know what happens. So therefore, we don't want to overpromise at this point. And first, we're going to make sure we can get to that PVT, and then we can, full of confidence, announce some really reliable dates where you can start purchasing it and where you can get the delivery.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Q&A time.
We don't have a cake?
Cake time.
Cake time.
Cake time.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we go into the Q&A, is it going to be on like a pause, right?
What, you know, pause?
Well, we're not going to eat the cake in front of the
eating
camera.
on the camera.
What you want?
Oh, okay. Okay. Cake eating and Q&A time. All right. So,
What's that?
just looking for the cake?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the cake. It's getting prepared. I mean, go for questions in the meanwhile.
Nice.
I can turn the screen around
Oh.
for live
Yes.
chat. Can
Yeah.
you see it on the right?
Not.
Not really? How will it?
I can. Yeah.
I have also a couple of people who are asking a few questions. So the first one is about the price. Is there anything known about the price?
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. So,
Oh,
wait 1 second.
okay.
Yay! Who's gonna cut it though? Who's gonna blow? We all have to blow it then. Yeah.
Like you need to blow it. Yeah.
No, hold on. Wait. I'm gonna drop it for sure.
Yeah. No.
I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it. Okay. Yeah. Come on. No, you guys, come on. No, I'm not gonna do it alone. No, I'm not gonna do it alone. No.
You need to be the
It's
first.
gonna explode.
Come
Look,
on,
it's
come on.
sparking. Come here.
Yeah.
Go. Come here. I'm not gonna blow it alone. Come on.
Go, Connor.
Okay. Well. Is it 10? Is it 10? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is then for the next 10 years for everyone. Okay. Not for me. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. How? They're all coming. Oh, okay, I see. Now I know why it's sparkling. Okay.
Keep trying. You can do it.
Needs to be more powerful.
Fucker.
More power.
More.
Okay, you want my swallow on your cake, right? Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Burning your fingers off beside you.
Oh, yeah.
Happy 10th anniversary.
Nice.
That was Mark's idea, by the way.
Let's get it. Yeah, nice and framed. There
I
we
was
go.
like, oh, it's sparkling. Why is it doing that?
That was kind of obvious, yeah. Okay. So, time for the Q&A, lads.
All right.
We can eat the cake later, it's okay. We have the whole evening.
You want to cut it already? Then everybody in the back is not like.
Could someone cut the cake?
We didn't prepare for that.
Yeah.
Bring the cake.
I don't think we
Oh.
don't have a knife, do
Yeah.
we?
One
yeah,
person?
we do.
Oh, we do?
You got it? Thank you.
Alright. First question.
Okay.
The price.
Oh, right.
Any information?
Okay. Okay. We have a price target that we had in mind when we were developing the 6HEV2 in dollar terms.
Yep.
But now with all the tariffs and not having all the pricing yet, not having all the, and not having completed all the costs yet, especially with the metal case, we really want to make sure that we have the right cost before we do a final price announcement. However, I can give a price indication, and that is that we have the 6HE Plus at 175, and we're trying to make sure that the V2 is not like a huge step up. It's a small step up, so you can make a reasonable decision on making that step up or not. And that's as vague as I can bring it right now, before I start giving a very specific price that we're gonna nail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry for not giving the exact sales price, but you know, when you're making the purchase decision, it's definitely not going to be a huge jump up, and you don't need to start saving a lot more than you would be saving for a 6HE Plus. That's the short version.
Alright. Also, another question was, can I have a live sound test?
I told you.
I know. Yeah, I mean, you can.
Yes, you can.
You can
Yeah,
try it, yeah.
Does this one have the silicone in it?
Be careful. But
Oh,
somebody have a tissue?
Oh, what? Oh, that's it. You might be. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No.
We'll lick it all
It's
up.
PG-13. Don't do that. Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, this has the foam?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the default.
So let's start with the default silicone block, silicone deafener.
Oh, I have some more whipped cream there. You want me to?
Your mic.
You want me to type?
You
or
want
do
me to
you
hold it?
No,
I
or
can
use
hold-
your.
Oh,
your
okay,
mic,
yeah, I
right?
can use
Yeah.
mine.
You
Yeah,
can use it. You
sure.
can get it close.
Okay.
Should I just put on top? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what the mic settings are right now, so.
Probably not correct for this kind of scenario, but it's an indication, and
Okay.
sound test dedicated one will be coming up.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Maybe. Oh, did we lube all the DVTs? Is this an EVT? Okay, I don't know how much of that came through, but
People said it's nice, so I guess it came through somehow.
Okay, cool. Use the
let's
bullet. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
let's put in the split one now.
Do you want
Oh.
to swap it?
Without
Swap
it,
with
you want to do without now and then with the
Oh,
phone?
oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, without the phone. If I do 100%, well, okay, wait. Where's the other spacebar?
Here.
Oh, here, okay. Okay, so we're gonna get more volume now. This table is not straight. Oh. Okay.
The phone one?
Sorry, I did it the developer way. Can everybody see my face? I have a very serious face typing, is what I just noticed. Okay.
All right. Nice. Next question is Wooting also going to make, because you guys have now these blue straps on your vests, are you actually going to be selling
this one?
more colored straps, is the question.
So no. So it might be very, very obvious to sell different color straps, and I do have to say that we've had it on our wish list to make different color straps and make it available. But every time it's also, when we actually designed the strap, we designed it so it was really, really easy to attach anything you wanted to it. And not really for us to like do a bunch of straps and say like, well, buy this strap, buy that strap. And it's also a little bit because making these kind of straps available, you cannot have enough different colors and options, and we're never going to be able to satisfy enough people with it, and it's never going to be that popular. So it's a lot more fun to make them for certain occasions, like we have Computex, we now have this one, and also a red version of this. Yeah. And then with like the Alumays, we have a different version as well, right? So that either you find it, you collect it, you have it, right? Or there's a special edition that we're making and it's more suitable with that edition. Yeah. So the short answer is we're not planning to sell more straps in our store. And the sub answer is it's very easy to make your own strap or let others, or get straps online. I think there's probably AliExpress straps. Yeah.
But it also means for this year's Computex, if you come into our booth, there's a chance.
For free, yeah?
For free. And also have a red one.
People especially buying a ticket now to fly over Compatibility.
Yeah, fly to Computex, see us.
Worth it.
Get your strap, yeah.
Talking about Compatibility, TTC actually asked, are we also going to showcase this specific model at Compatibility? This one you have on the table now with the sound test.
Yes, we definitely going to show. This is also the whole point with this year's Compatibility.
Right. Will there be pre-orders for the 60G V2?
Yes. So what we're trying to do now is what we're trying to do going forward is what I should say is we're going to be making we have a PVT batch, and then we go into MP, and then by the time we're maybe doing mass production or slightly before, we're going to make it available for sale, and then the delivery time will be relatively short, like up to 3 months after is the most, I would say, when we start selling the keyboard. But again, I just don't want to like throw any dates out there, but I do want to tell you that it doesn't really matter if you buy it now or you buy it a few months from now, that delivery is not going to change. So if you're willing, if you're wanting, and you're waiting for it anyway, just hold your budget and wait until it's available for sale.
Okay.
So noticed.
Any information on the price of the Lekker ticket switches?
They didn't do that. Yeah.
Price on the Lekker ticket switch.
Yes, Lekker ticket switches are going to start matching. Oh. Uh-oh.
What's it going to be?
Yeah. Well, Lekker ticket switches are going to come in to the goal of the Lekker ticket switch is start matching our Lekker switches. So they're going to come in, and the goal is to start matching Lekker switches. But this is very, very closely related also with our keyboard pricing. And that's why, because if you get a module, for example, you can get Lekker switches for, I think, $20 with the module. Yeah, but if you buy Lekker switches new, it's $40. And we do this also in order to make sure that when you buy a module, you can complete the whole keyboard, and you don't spend, I think you only spend maybe $10 more than the pre-assembled finished one. And that $10 premium that's in there is because of the packaging and everything separately shipped to cover some margin for us. And we want to keep that same thing for the Lekker Tikka with the new V2 module, and I just don't want to give like a hard conclusion on price because we're engineering this a bit together. But in general, again, these switches are not supposed to be a huge step away from what we have now of Lekker switches overall. Yeah.
So what you already said, the module is also going to be available for this new version?
Yes. So we're going to have a module available with the regular spacebar, 6.25, and also in a split spacebar, and then an ANSI and ISO. both the split spacebar and the full spacebar. And
Yes.
we really would love to see you guys start using split spacebar. And we're going to be carefully monitoring how different people will use their split spacebar, because you can already remap it to anything. And based on that feedback, start looking at, hey, what else can we maybe implement that's going to complement the split spacebar? Yeah.
And will the Lekker ticket switches work with all the previous keyboards?
Yes, it will. It's all backwards compatible. Yeah.
Besides the flare tick?
Right.
Besides the besides
Right.
the flare tech
That we
yes.
don't sell
Yeah,
anymore.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, okay. Besides Wooting 1, Wooting 2 flare tech switches. Yeah.
When can you buy the switches? Is it going to be after the launch of the 60G V2, or is it already going to be available before the launch of the 60G V2?
It's a good question. Right now, we want to make sure we can make enough switches for the production of the keyboards. That has a priority. At the same time, we're going to be doing the switch pack production. But because we're synchronizing these two with each other, if we need a little bit more time on the keyboard, if we need a little bit more time on the keyboard, we allow a little bit more time on the switches. So they're going to be available around the same time. If the keyboard goes a little bit slower than we wanted, then the switches will become available earlier. So for now, it's going to be available around the same time.
Will there be also more case colors? Because we only see the black one now.
Well,
Since you asked,
Which one? Do you want to show this one? Or
yes,
Is this good to...
yes, this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
let me in the meanwhile say then, there's the black color. We are working on, yeah, right? Yeah, we are working on a white color.
Yeah.
We did not want to show it here.
No.
And we did not want to make any promises about the white color, because of course, like with the zinc, what we've learned
We
from
all
our zinc
know.
white.
Yeah, we learn a lot on the zinc white, on ATHE white zinc, and so we want to spend more time to finalize that white colors that satisfies us. We learn more, and we want to do more on the environmental tests or dropping tests. We want to do more reliability tests on the white, so we want to prevent the last year about ATHE. But besides the white, we actually have another color, and this is anodized, we call bright silver, which is, we want to make this as white as possible, but it still remain the flickering, silvery, kind of like very classic anodization. And this is like very smooth sandblasting also. And yes, it's a silver white aluminum.
Maybe we can show that under the
anodization
camera as well.
Oh yes. Maybe put it into the camera.
Oh yeah, sure. Peoples.
Be aware, it's a
This is a more even earlier prototype, which is the EVT one. We are still finalizing the color and and also the sand texture, but this is within our scope, I believe.
Yeah.
We just wait. We are waiting for the other batch, which didn't arrive this week, so we couldn't show the latest one. Yeah, but this is something we are aiming for, like color-wise, we want this, and also texturing-wise, this is all very on the spot.
yeah.
Yes, that is the EVT sample. So just
There's a story behind the large hole
Yeah.
at the USB-C port.
yes.
Because we initially had this idea of doing something a bit different with the USB-C port, but in the end, it seemed to not be necessary. And let's see.
We should also mention this will
Yeah.
come
Details is the
the
one.
silver, bright
Might
silver
as well not. No.
anodization case will just be available for us as a standalone case.
So in other words, this case is not going to be available as a pre-assembled model. You would have to buy it with a module together. And the reason why we did that is because going forward, we want to see, we want to make sure that we don't overcommit with the amount of SKUs, of course. But this is also, again, this color we want to try out. We find it a lot of fun, and we do want to make it available, and we want to make it available for every layout. But we don't want to commit to all these extra pre-assembled SKUs for this one color. And because the process for making this case in particular is different from the process of the regular case, it's also a bit more expensive. It's literally more expensive to make.
Yeah. There are actually different process of making these two cases. Yeah.
Yeah. And with different process, it's not only about how we make the case, and it's also about the finish of the case. Those are completely different processes.
Right, next question is, how is the Keycap compatibility with the split spacebar keyboard?
Right.
Sets we have now.
So we made Keycap just in general, right? Split spacebar key compatibility, right? Okay. So in general, the Keycap, the size of the left spacebar is equal to the right shift, and the size of your right spacebar is equal to the left shift. So that means any Keycap set you might have, the right and left shift can also fit here. So you can still do a bunch of different combinations. However, by default, our split spacebars that come with the keyboard have a, what is it called?
Dome
Arcing.
shape,
Yeah,
arc
like a dome,
shape, yeah.
yeah, like a outwards arc shape, just like your regular spacebar, which might be more comfortable than one of your shift keys. So you can also just choose to leave those on there and then combine it still with a key set. And then when it comes to key set availability with the same shape and size, I think that will get a little bit more difficult. There are very few sets that actually make it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what we can show is we can just pull out the two shift and we make a switch.
Yeah. You need to do it upside down. It's more comfortable.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I thought it would be more comfortable,
It,
but it looks
I
very,
think,
very aggressive, actually.
I think it's too aggressive. But it's very recognizable. Yep.
Yeah.
I think this is just when before the people are trying to make with the split spacebar and they don't have actually opening a mode with the correct spacebar shape. This is what you go with. So this is just right shift, left shift, and just general 1.25 modifier keys.
Just to be clear, they're upside down now.
Yeah,
so you can also
because it's
install
more easy for your thumbs to reach it.
Yeah.
Right, final question. Will there be a knob?
Oh, wait, are we allowed to talk about this kind of stuff? Oh.
Oh shit, the camera.
So, okay. The short answer is yes, we're working on it. And we're working on it for like already 2 years by now, I think. Because it is not just a knob, of course. When we're developing a knob, we want to develop it in our way. But I'm not allowed to share a lot about it other than that there's a small knob and there's a big knob. And you might notice that that big knob was supposed to be somewhere. But it's now, just now, going to be close to finishing its development. And I can say only a few things about these, about small knob and the big knob. And that is, first of all, it's hot swappable. It's backwards compatible, meaning you can use it already on your current Wooting keyboards if it's with an ARM chip. And, there's not a third one? I thought there was a third one.
Programmable.
Oh, okay. And it's programmable, so you can map it to whatever you want with remap, of course. I can, I guess, also say that the small knob can rotate both ways and press. The big knob can also rotate and then press in the middle. We've been working on it for a very long time. It is, I'm just going to say, it is past its prototyping, but it's still prototyping.
Yes.
And we don't want to make any commitments to it. but we are trying to make it available by 2026 Q1. And there are just things that we want to make sure that it works. We're going to be showing on Computex that it works, but it also needs to be a really great experience. And we haven't achieved the level that we're satisfied with yet. Yeah. That was as restrictive as I could make it.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah?
That's about it, or, yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
Okay, well, then, wow, nice, okay. Then I'm gonna wrap up the stream then, right?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So I would say it would be very nice if everyone in the back also maybe joined for saying goodbye. That would be great.
Goodbye party.
Yeah. Some people already went home because it's getting later and later here.
Yeah.
But then, here, see? Yeah,
Yay.
Yeah, nice.
You know, the full squad. You can go here.
I hope you enjoyed the 10-year. Oh yeah, is it working? Oh, okay, okay,
Hey.
Max is too big.
okay. I hope. All right.
Oh, nice.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
You can hide the overlay by the way. Just click on the overlay with the eye and the chat. And get there.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun,
Oh yeah. And yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big boy line. Oh yeah. Where's it?
Okay.
There, right. Click. Yep.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay.
Professional.
If you're coming to Computex, you might see some of these faces next week during Computex. And otherwise, I thank you for joining the live stream. I hope you are excited as we are also about the Wooting 680 V2 and about our little knobby knob stuff. We are very excited to be working on it. We're also very much looking forward to make the deliveries and to have you start using it. We're looking forward to that. And otherwise, see you in the next live stream. Bye-bye.
Bye. Or maybe see you in Computex.
Yeah, or see you in Computex. Yeah.
Nick, I'll stop streaming on